Hello guys, welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel. So today we're doing a technical video and we're discussing paint inspections, which is something that's really important. Why should you inspect your paint prior to doing paint correction or machine polishing? The answer to that is so that you use perhaps the most appropriate method to polish the car. And in combination with that, you reduce the likelihood of doing anything that might not be good, like going through the clear coat or making potential problems worse, you know. So what are we looking for when we inspect the car? Well, first of all, you want to eyeball it and look for defects that you can't fix with paint correction. In particular, paint peeling on the front bumper in places where you get chips and stuff like that. You polish over that, and you can flake off more paint and stuff like that. You're also looking for damage, scuffs, grazes through the clear coat, stuff which you can't fix. I'll give you an example straight away, guys, something I spotted when I first got the car. So this has been repainted. You can probably just see, like, you know, a bit of texture there and all that from where it's just been blown over or whatever. But like a big chunk has come out there. So that's probably been done, I would imagine, you tell me, but I would almost certainly guess that that has been done with a pressure washer and it's caught a little bit of a fill or something like that. It's just blasted all the filler and paint out. So yeah, I think that's probably what's happened. Don't know, but I've got some touch-up paint and I'll just touch that in, which is okay. You know, you're not going to repaint the whole skirt because of that. So there's just a quick example. Now, we do have some equipment as well that's going to be coming very useful for this. First thing is a good inspection torch. I just use this Sealy thing, which has proven to be reasonably reliable. It's an LED 360, I think it's called. Yeah, LED 360 CM. It's probably been superseded or whatever. And I've got this paint depth gauge, which we talked about. I don't know if I've just put new batteries in this thing. I don't know if this thing's on its last legs, but it's not playing ball. It will turn on eventually. Don't know what's going on with this. Interesting. You know, here's what it is. It does work. I'll play around with that in a second when we come to use it. Keep your finger down, it will turn on. Anyway, maybe. So, what are we looking for? Let's grab the torch. I already know a few things with this paintwork. Now, general paintwork condition. The first thing is, this car has been repainted, probably in different stages, but I think all of the car has been repainted. You can see that, you know, you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to see the texture in the paint. That prep texture underneath isn't like OEM paint, which is just better. You can see that reflectivity of that light there. It's quite distorted. That's texture. There's a lot of texture in that finish. It's glossy, but it's got a lot of texture. And that separates a good paint job, really good, from a poor one. I can also see, as I roll that light up and down, I can see very fine DA marks that are underneath in part of the prepping. So I know that's been painted. Now, what you can't probably see, unless I get this light on here, is look at all that. It's like, oh my God. Look at that, it's like the old Swirl Central. The good news is this is absolutely fine, very common on all cars. That doesn't really bother me at all. This car has had a ceramic coating about 2 or 3 years ago, an IGL one, and it's got like a sticker. It did have a sticker, I think I took it out. So it should have a coating which should still be on the car. If it is on the car, it's lost its hydrophobicity, which is completely normal really. Doesn't mean the coating's not there, but it's probably just buried now. Might have been, you know, braided off by poor wash techniques. If you wash a car to the point where you're putting in scratches into the clear coat, then you're scrubbing on the surface when you haven't pre-washed it really. You know, you're moving dirt around, which is abrasive. And if you can gouge out clear coat, and those scratches are probably greater than a micron, they're a lot deeper than the thickness of the ceramic coating, and the ceramic coating will not stop scratches appearing. It might help a little bit. It might help keep the dirt off there and free the dirt up with its self-cleaning stuff. But if you grind grit over paintwork, it's going to scratch it. Coating or no coating, it's just part of the way it works. So that's the first thing. So you can get a good idea, and I'll bring you right in if we get a nice angle, that this is covered in swirls. Now, how's the best way to approach taking out those swirls? Now here's something that's important. If it's an old car, which this is, but it's on original paintwork, and you've got tons of swirls and it's like German paint, then you almost, really the best way to proceed, take all that out, is to do a heavy cutting set on it, I think, in my opinion, most times, and then finish it out. If you've got time. If you haven't got time, then you're going to have to do a single stage on it. However, with paint like this, what I'm expecting is, because it's aftermarket paint, it's not going to be as tough as OEM paint, and it's not going to have generations of swirl marks. These swirl marks have all been put in relatively quickly, probably over a short period of time by it being washed, you know, without much, you know, it's not been safe washed, basically. So what we're going to do is, probably when we polish this, I would probably actually start with M2 or M3, something like that, on a soft pad, and just do a nice slow set of 4 passes there with that finishing polish. And I've got a feeling that may be the best way forward. There's a chance it won't be. You know, so I'm thinking here, it'd be great if I could do this in one nice, slow, really methodical, slow polishing set with a finishing polish. I'm going to try that. If after I've done that, I'm not digging out all of those swirl marks, then unfortunately, almost by default, you then go to the stage where one set isn't going to do. So then you're better off taking the heavy hammer, the heavy cut, and then finishing with the light cut, because that gives you, you know, with the finishing polish, that gives you the biggest, kind of, the most efficient thing if you're doing multiple sets. Heavy hammer, fine polishing. And the set with the heavy hammer should really take out all of the swirls. You don't always want to default to using the heavy hammer. You know, only if you need to, and if it's efficient to. So that's important. Right, I want to draw your attention to some other things. Let's see if we can get this going. Why has this stopped working, this thing? It was working a second ago, before I started this video. Not the best advert for CEMDT156, but I have had this a fair few years. If it's conked out now, come on you. Oh, we'll come back. Maybe that needs to be in, who knows? Don't think it does. Swine. Oh, there we go. There we go. I don't know, maybe it needs that little thing in the back. No, yeah, it's gone off. Okay, I've already taken some readings. Basically, these readings are high here, which means it's been repainted maybe even a couple of times. Who knows? It is a 20-odd-year-old car. Yeah, interesting. Could have been repainted a few times, this car. Paintwork is actually okay on most of the places. It's pretty good. There is. It's not perfect. It's not like a 10 out of 10 paint job, but it's not like it's probably above average, like a 6 or a 7 or something like that. But it's not perfect. It's been put on thick. This is all good though. I'm more than happy with this. I'm really happy that there isn't all like polish crammed in everywhere. You know what I mean? And this stuff is all like pretty good, because that's important. And once it's all like all the polish is put in here and that, it's a nightmare to get it all out. Really is. There's bits, but it's not too bad. You can kind of see, again over here, heavy swirling all over the car. And it's a little bit dirty, which isn't ideal. You should probably get it fully clean. It's good enough to inspect it, though. And you can see down here on these plastic bumpers as well. These have all been painted. I can see the texture. You can probably see it. They're just going to need polishing. Now, over here, there is a problem. This piece here may be the only piece on the car that hasn't been painted, because I can usually tell. And it's suffering from clear coat failure. All these knobbly bits here, that's not contamination or anything, that's clear coat failure. They're chunks. Look, you can see it quite badly there. So this missing clear coat has failed. And what I think is some sort of chemical is splattered up out of here. It hits the aux belt if something goes. It could be, God knows what it is, coolant or something, I don't know. And it splatters up and it damages the clear coat. That's probably what's happened. And it's only on this panel. So that isolated panel needs to be repainted, and that won't be too difficult. The paint on the rear tacho spoiler is good. Now there is a problem with this panel here. This panel here has solvent pop in it. So this panel, and it's quite swirly, this panel actually. I don't know if you can you see the solvent pop? You need a certain angle. You can probably see it. It's definitely solvent pop. Because, yeah, well, it could be, no, it's solvent pop, I think. Hold on. Just bear with me. Sorry about the breathing. Yeah, it's definitely not anything stuck onto the paint. I think that's solvent pop, and it's all over this panel. But it's not bad. You can only see it in low light. And you can probably just about, if I get some sort of angle, yeah, you can probably just about see it. All those little dots. Yeah. Hard to pick up on camera, but something's trying to come out of the clear coat. It's not contamination on the clear coat, unfortunately. To fix that, I think you'd need to repaint this panel. It's not too bad around here, but it's at its worst around here. The rest of the paint is okay. Oh, I haven't seen that before. A bit of paint failure there, look. I don't know what to do about that. Yeah. Don't know, a bit of touch up on that. Don't know. It's okay. It's quite funny. I'm not that's been painted with some sort of something, and that's good that they've done that, because that protects it from rusting, just seals it up. So there's some good elements to the paint on this and some bad elements. Most of the paint levels are like 300 plus all over the car, so I don't know entirely how much clear coat I've got. But again, you can see here that most of my problem is just going to be taking out all this swirling. Let's get a nice shot of it so you can see it all. But none of it's bad. Once I take out most of this swirling, there'll be a few deeper sort of scratches in there. But generally, it'll be okay. There's a little dimple there. You see that? Right where the beam of light is, there's like a little dimple. I think I spotted another one up here. So if I could ever be bothered, I'd get a PDR guy to come in and just sort these little dinks out. But they're not, you wouldn't get them in just for that. They're very hard to spot. Door edges are pretty good. Driver's side's got a couple. And this has been painted as well. But the good news is, I think, has that been blown in? Has that been blown in? If it has been, no, it wouldn't have been. I'd be able to see it. So I don't think that was painted on the car, which is good. Yeah, not the best though when you go looking. It's going to need a good clay as well. Yeah, the front bumper's not the best paint job. We've done it at a different time. But overall, it's fine. It just depends what you're looking for, really. So, first of all, the immediate thing with a Porsche, it's S-Reg, isn't it? So what registration is S? This is 98, so we're talking 25-year-old car. So the first thing common sense tells you when you're buying a 25-year-old car, if it's on original clear coat, that clear coat is on its last legs. It will have lost a lot of its gloss. It will have lost a lot of its protection, you know, and the paint underneath will be getting dull and polishing. You know, generally it could have been kept in a garage for 25 years, in which case, you know, it's all good. But most of them that have been used will need to be repainted after 25 years. So the fact this has been repainted is pretty cool. It's a positive, because if I bought one that didn't, I'd need to fork out, probably with a car like this, pay the Porsche tax. You know, if it was an old Pug or something, you'd get it painted for like $4 grand, but you turn up with a Porsche and it will be like $8 grand. You know, you'd have to shell out $8 grand to get this thing painted. So that's all been done. So really all I need to do is just get that painted, which I'll do at some point, and just polish it. So that's something to consider when buying a car. Has it been repainted? If it is, if you're a real stickler for it, you'll know probably if you look at paintwork whether it's a good paint job or not quite rapidly, but just by looking at the texture in the paint and looking at the edges as well, looking for overspray, looking for signs of it being a blowover. You know, if you open up the doors and see if they've blown through the gaps in the door and there's like an edge here, you know. Which they probably must. They haven't. I think they've painted in here, have they? Or they've just done it. Yeah, they've done it reasonably carefully. Oh, yeah, there is a bit of a dry edge there, but it's not. It's not nothing too bad. I've seen worse. And then that. Yeah, that feels a bit rough. So it's been touched up there. So what I could do is just put more touch up in and then just buff it smoother or whatever. Never be 100% smooth, but yeah. So I guess what you're looking for is a terrible paint job that you can't live with and you can't rectify issues with, or it never been painted and needs to be painted, because paint jobs are very expensive. If they're not expensive, it means they're not going to be done to an amazing standard, even though you guys will be telling me in the comments that your mate will respray your car for £2,000 and does an amazing job. Newsflash, he doesn't. No one does an amazing job for £2,000, because you're worth more than that if you're a painter, and you shouldn't be charging that sort of money, because it's the prep. It's the primering and the preparation prior to the paint going down. There's lots of P's that takes all the time, and if you don't do that, most people can't tell the difference between a bad paint job and a good one. So yeah, so there's lots of bad paint jobs being done. Anyway, that's a different subject matter, isn't it? So that gives you an idea of what we're dealing with this car. When it's time to polish it, we will clean it. We won't use anything that special to clean it. We'll probably just pre-wash it all down with Built Hamber Touchless. Contact wash it with Built Hamber Touchless probably again. Maybe put some fallout remover all over it and a bit of detar, and just then rinse all that down after a bit of TARDIS. Clay the hell out of it, which is really important because it does build up. Yeah, there's a roughness to it. And then polish the hell out of it and really take the time to get the gloss back in there. And I'll show you when we do that. I'll get the Gonio photometer and take some readings of the paintwork prior to us polishing them, and then readings afterwards to show you how much you can actually improve paintwork and what the cap levels are. And it's not all about the gloss, which is the interesting thing. Different colours, different base colours will yield different gloss potentials, you know. So in other words, a red car might cap its gloss out at around 90 gloss units. A black car might have a higher gloss potential. It does depend on the clear coat as well, but the colour underneath can affect the gloss, in my experience. Even though you're bouncing a light off the surface, the colour can affect it. So we'll cover all that. This gives you an idea of what I'm dealing with my red car. Overall pretty good. The alloys are in great condition. A lot of you know, saying, John, you've got to get rid of those bronze alloy wheels. Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing when I was buying it. I looked at the pictures like, I don't like those alloy wheels. But when you live with them, trust me, they're okay, and they've been done quite well. So to split them down is quite a cost. They're dirty, but to split them is quite a lot of cost, and you risk damaging the threads, which can be a pain. And it's not that bad. You get used to the bronze, and it's okay. It's all right. So yeah, that's not as bad as it looks. I need to do a full undercarriage clean, which I'll do at the end. If you've been watching the other videos, we've made some real progress on the interior now. And the interior is lovely. I'm just waiting for my gear knob and gear selector, gear gator to come from Black Forest Industries, which is taking a long time, but it should be worth the wait. Steering wheel's in, dashboard's all fixed. I thought Operation Dashboard was done, but that speaker there's blowing. That one. It's not good, so I'll probably have to do all the speakers, which shouldn't be or the front two speakers, because the back ones sound decent. So I might start doing some research into speaker upgrades. Apart from that, the car's driving great. Exhaust's all been welded now. Blew some holes in the flexis on that Dansk exhaust. That's all welded up now. Sounding good. Drives good, just needs a good geo. Really good geo, I think. A lot of you guys saying, John, you've got to get spacers on it and stuff like that. Well, yeah, you know, it's got 5mm spacers, I think, or maybe 10mm. What's that? It looks like 5mm to me, front and back. This car is sort of like tucked. It's not supposed to be a real like wide stance. That's how it's supposed to look, and it's already spaced out. Spaced out. A bit like me. Hey, dude. You know, you could probably put a 15mm spacer on the back, or at least a 10mm. I'll look at maybe doing that, but I don't know. The stance is nice, so it sits a little bit low, you know, but that's okay. So yeah, well, that sort of stuff will come at the end, all the mechanical stuff really. But thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was useful, especially with approaches to polishing. It's important to inspect to know your approach. There's that old cliche, isn't there, that the least aggressive method first. Well, that can be quite a good rule of thumb if you don't know, you know, if you don't want to go the most aggressive method first, or the most appropriate method first, you're not sure. That least aggressive is a good default, I think, because you can build up, but perhaps better to build up than build down. But I'm going least aggressive. I'm going to do that fine polishing set, see if that gives me decent level of correction on this soft paint, dealing with mainly wash-related marring, and I'm pretty sure it will. It's just what's underneath all those swirls that I can see, and how deep are those other ones, and will it benefit? If I've got to go more than one set, then I'm much better off doing a heavy cut set and a finishing polish set, because I get a lot more correction with that heavy cut set than doing 2 finishing polish sets, or even 2 single stage sets, because I found out the hard way that the first single stage pass isn't giving me the results I need, you know? So it's just about finding the best way forward and then applying that. Being mindful that sometimes you get different results when you're polishing plastics, bumpers, front bumpers and rear bumpers. They tend to be a lot softer. So you can even, if you have decided on your test area there that you're going to do heavy cut, you know, cut and finish basically, heavy cut, fine finish. You could on the bumpers opt to do a fine, medium cut, for example, and finish, you know, or maybe just finish is good enough. It depends. So you have to play around sometimes. That's it. And always rely. Always take loads of readings, because it will highlight potential problems. I did take some readings. Trust me, it's kind of half working. Look, it almost wants to work now. Oh, it made a beep. If I rotate the batteries around, it will want to work. It might even be these cheap Chinese batteries that I just put in. If I go get some Duracell or something half decent, it might work. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Summer is coming, something very important. Who's still here? Who are the ones that are actually interested in all this stuff? It's the ones that make it to the end of the video. So if you make it to the end, always say, John, I was with you to the end. I was with you to the bitter end. Guys, in here, I'm starting to collect up lots of dressings for interiors. Look, we've got ceramic-y ones, we've got real high bling ones, we got auto glim ones, we've got all my favourite brands, and I'm just still picking some more. It's going to be a bigger lineup than normal, I think. Although, how many do you want? How many do you want? That's the question. So we're going to be doing interior dressings next. Yeah, so that should be fun. Subscribe if you want to see progress on that. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you soon. Doug.